Well, springtime is officially here. It's starting to get warmer, the grass is greening up, the trees finally have leaves on them, things are looking good. So I wanted to show you guys what we have growing in the garden for this spring. We have lots of different vegetables and flowers, and of course blueberries are about to start getting ready to be picked, which is really exciting. So let's go take a look at what we have going on in the garden for this spring. In our first garden box, I have 3 different varieties of tomatoes. I have a big beef tomato, tycoon tomato, and some cherry tomatoes. This is my first year growing tomatoes, and I did not realize how large they were going to get. So that's my mistake. I just bought some trellises from Gardener Supply. They're the trellises that are square that go around the tomato plant. So hopefully they work out pretty well. It's probably way too late to be trellising them, but at least I'll have something. So, and I'll get to use it in the next year. So here's the tomatoes that I have growing right now. You can already see there's some green tomatoes in there, which look pretty good so far. So I'm happy, aside from the fact that they're growing like crazy. I also have some carrots, which I planted probably in December, maybe January. They look pretty good. I've been harvesting them every couple of days, and so far I've had pretty good success with the carrots. This is a dill plant that I bought probably a month ago, and it has grown substantially. I did not realize how big this was going to get, and it's way too much dill for what we would even use or eat. So I think I'm going to move this to a different location because it's just taking over this box at this point. I bought the dill because I have cucumbers that I wanted to pickle. So I thought it'd be great to have fresh dill, but this is just out of control and the cucumbers aren't ready yet. So I need to kind of figure out a solution for this. In this section over here, I have lots of different flowers growing. I haven't grown flowers either before and thought it'd be a fun change to do some flowers this year. So I've got sunflowers. This is a sunflower right here. Got a little ladybug going on right there. These are tiger eye hybrid sunflowers, so they're red and yellow, which I think will be really pretty. I have some marigolds, cornflowers, and zinnias growing. So I'm really excited to see how these do. So far they look pretty good. I've got some more carrots over here, and then we have lots of different varieties of bell peppers. This one is a Carmen bell pepper. It seems like it's doing pretty well so far. I've got some kale here. I had to replant everything after we had a really bad frost a few months ago. So this kale I planted about 2 months ago, and it's just starting to be ready to harvest right now. So I've been eating a little bit for lunch in my salads, which has been really nice. I have another pepper plant right here. This is a golden wonder, so this will be a yellow pepper. And then I also have some red leaf lettuce. I tried to grow this in the winter, but didn't have really any success. And so now it's just starting to come up. It's definitely been really slow to grow, but I guess it's just the type of variety that it is. So right here I have this is called a candy cane red pepper, which I'm really excited for these. They're sweet snacking peppers, so I don't think they'll get much bigger, but they will turn red when they're done, and they have white stripes, which is why they're called candy cane red, because they kind of look like candy canes. So these have been doing really well so far. I also have a poblano pepper here, and then I have 3 other varieties of peppers over here, just green and red bell peppers. And then over here I have some beets, which I planted from seed, and they're looking really good. You can see the top of the beet kind of poking up right there. So I'm excited to harvest these very soon. They look like they're almost about ready. This is our corn patch. Jay used the tiller to till up our soil, and then we added back in some garden soil so that it would have a little bit more nutrients. We've got some corn growing here. We planted them about 2 weeks ago, so they're still very small, just starting to get popped up here, but they look pretty good so far. One thing that we did differently with our corn patch this year is we added what we call llama beans, which are these circular pellets on the ground. It's actually llama manure. We had a friend who has llamas and had a ton of llama manure and told us that it was very nutrient rich and it didn't burn plants and doesn't smell. So we decided to try it on our corn patch this year as a natural way to fertilize the corn. So I'll report back and let you know how well it does. But so far the corn seems to be doing pretty well and seems to be liking it. In the front here I have some watermelon plants, but I'm not really sure if they're going to make it. I think I'm going to have to buy some new plants this weekend. if you see right here, the base of the plant it's like split open. And I read online that if it gets below 60 degrees, watermelon plants don't really handle the cold very well, so the bases will split. It has been kind of chilly the last few days. We had a little bit of a cold front come in, so I think I just planted these probably a little bit too soon. This one also split here, and this guy split on the end. So I think I'm gonna have to go back to the nursery and buy some more transplants, but that's okay. I learned that probably planted them maybe a little bit too soon. So that's our corn patch. From the really crazy winter frost that we had, it killed off my mandarin trees, unfortunately. So I bought two new types of citrus. This is a tangelo and this is an Orlando. So we'll see how well this does. It's actually growing some little mini fruits, are just starting to grow some fruit here. I think I'm gonna take these off because the tree is not supposed to grow fruit for the first few years of its life. It really needs to focus on getting strong and producing limbs and leaves. So I'll probably take these off, and the fruit isn't very good anyways the first few years because it's so young. So I have another citrus here. This is also a tangelo. This is a sunburst. So we'll see how well this does. It's not producing any fruit yet, but maybe it's just because it's so young. Then in this box we have our highbush blueberries, which are doing very well. They look like they have lots of berries, and hopefully soon we'll be able to eat lots of berries and have blueberry pie and be able to eat these just on a snack when we come out here. So I'm very excited for blueberries in a few weeks. In the second box I have a lot of lettuce growing. I had some spinach here, but I just harvested it the other day. That's why it looks so sad, because I cut it all down. Then right here I've got some garlic and onions, have some red onions and white onions growing. In this section I have some cucumbers for pickling. So these are specifically for pickling. They're a little bit smaller than your regular cucumbers. And we made this trellis out of hog wire last year. We just took some hog wire and bent it in a 45-degree angle to make a triangle. And this is not a permanent solution. I really want to do a trellis that has wood on the outside and the hog wire on the inside. I'll post a photo so you can see it. But that's a project that maybe we'll work on later this summer when we have a little bit more time, and I think it'll look a lot prettier in the garden. But this is a good solution for right now when we need to have our vining plants on. So these cucumbers look pretty good so far. I also have some squash here. I bought this as a transplant this year. I tried to grow squash from seed, and I don't know if I planted it too late last year or if I bought the wrong variety. They ended up having a lot of root rot, and the squash would rot at the end. So far we're not having that issue. They look pretty good, and I have some yellow squash over here, growing quite a few yellow squash in there, which look pretty good so far. So I'm going to keep an eye on them, and hopefully we don't have any root rot like we had last year. Then in this section, in between these two boxes, I decided to plant some mammoth sunflowers. So these sunflowers, they get to be 12 feet tall. I thought they'd be kind of fun, and not really using this area right now. So I just planted them a few weeks ago, so they're still pretty small, but obviously these will get very, very big. So I'm really excited about these. And then in this last box, I have all of our rabbiteye blueberries. So these are looking really good. Hopefully in a few weeks we'll have lots of blueberries to eat. We've got a different variety here. So these are all 4 different varieties of rabbiteye blueberries. This tree actually was having some issues. I was having some leaves that were turning brown in the end, and I believe it's because the soil wasn't acidic enough. So I added some more acidifier to the soil, and I've been keeping an eye on it. It seems to be doing a lot better, so I'm going to keep an eye on it and see how well it does. But ultimately, I'm going to have to get my soil tested by the local ag extension here. I'm just going to send a soil sample in so I can know exactly what the pH is, so I can solve this mystery once and for all. I have a pH tester, but it hasn't been super reliable, and that's probably the best way to get a reliable result. We got one other blueberry plant over here. And then one last thing to note, so the corn patch is in the middle of the garden this year. Normally we would have it over here next to this blueberry box, but we're building a barn, and I didn't want the construction workers to accidentally drive on the corn patch or run it over. So we put it in this area where it's away from the construction zone, and it's a good use of the space for now. Eventually we'd like to have this space as a seating area or a place that you can sit down, but this will do for this year. So that's a quick garden tour of what we have growing this spring. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe and leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll see y'all again next time.